What up, YouTube? Welcome back to Awaken Your Essence channel. This this video is going to be addressing one of the topics going around in the prepper world called why. And Dougbass, Mr. Feel the Bass, 654 did a video entitled Why and Red October, who is a YouTuber that jumps in on the prepping conversations. He did a video response to it, and I'm going to attempt to do a video response to both of them in this one video without having to do two separate ones. The main questions asked in both videos, that was addressed in both videos, is why do people prep? And it was addressing the different type of preppers that are in this community and abroad, and some of the things that they do and say that stand out. So I got a little list here that I did. I just watched both videos back to back, and I got a list of 13 different things, roughly 13 different things, and I tried to keep it within this topic because I know sometimes I veer off and get a little sidetracked in the conversation, because as I'm saying these things, other thoughts are coming in, and it makes me think of other things and other examples. So the first thing is, I feel some people prep to maintain their class or their social position. This would gear more toward the preppers that are well off. You know what I'm saying? They're not living off of ramen noodles every night. You know what I mean? They got pretty nice house, 2-car garage. They might even own the house by now. You know what I'm saying? Those preppers that are more than likely retired from their first career, and collecting guns and shooting up shit is really just a pastime for them. That's one prepper that I noticed this out there, even within the YouTube community. Number two, some people prep just to get famous and show off their gear. Red October made an example of the people who come from the YouTube world that have made spots on doomsday preppers. And some people, whether it's just for the hell of it or they think they're just that awesome, probably wouldn't mind getting on the show. The third thing is the religious type of prepper. Now, the word that type of prepper in itself really isn't nothing new, especially if you live anywhere in the South or what's considered the southern states. That type of prepper is not new. Everybody knows a doomsday, end of the world type preacher. Whether you were forced to be a Christian, your parents made you, whatever the case was, sometime in your life you've come across one. Even if you've seen them walking around the street passing out those little pamphlets, I'm pretty sure you've come across a few of them. And one thing that Red October said, and I can see the point to a certain extent, but most of those people, especially the ones I've met in real life, they have this presence where, you know what I'm saying, at the end of the day, they're living by the Bible according to how they interpret the Bible, and Jesus or God is going to save them in the end times. They'll have, and there's a little bit of a split, and you see this with a lot of the people that follow Alex Jones and stuff, because he even did a documentary. He had some pastor that's affiliated with him, young dude. I can't think of his name. Where he was talking about post tribulation living in America or versus pre-tribulation living in America, and how it ties into the rapture and the Book of Revelations. Um, from the people on the outside, even if you've been a part of certain religions, it would make you question whether y'all want to admit it or not. How strong is your faith if you're still running around with bazookas and AR-15s and grenades and shit? Like, aren't you supposed to be more focused on getting right with God so you'll transcend this world in peace and without pain? Isn't that the whole point of your religion? And I'm asking that as an honest question, because those are questions that I asked as a youngster in church, and decades later I still ain't got a fucking straight answer from nobody, and I'll continue asking that question until somebody gives me a straight answer. Next, the when I also read some of the comments. Some people they were picking on Demcat. They talk about the nerds and geeks, um, and I probably can tie that into to another type of prep on my list. But the nerds and geeks were people that they said were unpopular. Oh, matter of fact, I'm gonna save that. Um, I'm gonna save that. The nerds and geeks really, I'm guessing would be. I can throw them in the category with the rich preppers. They might be the CEOs, and they do it for they prep and stuff for fun time just because they can afford to do it. They really have no reason to prep because they have everything already. You know what I mean? They're the people that design the guns and bullets and shit that everybody else fight over and fight to have. Um, and they're sitting pretty well off. Most of them probably already got bunkers and shit. So I mean, I really wouldn't have even did that. They must have just wanted to pick on Demcat for a second. Um, which he's a pretty cool cat. He always talk about the economic collapse and stuff like that. He'll bring all the economic stats and how it attends to his prepping and the fall of the dollar and that kind of thing. Um, some people, one thing I've noticed myself that they didn't specifically point out was, well, not in that particular video, was the lone wolf prepper. And some people prep because they want to totally pull away from society. They're tired of being a part of it. They want to go live out the rest of their days in peace, drama free, whether it's in a cabin on the top of a mountain or it's out in a bunker somewhere. Some people are that fed up in general, or they just want to go off the beat of themselves, and they're prepping for that. And a lot of them have already started making moves out of their crowded neighborhoods to their isolated prepping areas, and they're in the process of selling their house. Because they're just fed up and done, and they're just gonna sit. I guess they're gonna sit back and watch how the chips fall. Um, some people are not happy, and that's why they prep. You know what I'm saying? They're slaves to their marriage. They're slaves to their jobs. Slaves to schools. The whole social um, structure as a whole really preps you to be some form of a slave. I mean, from a jump, like your most impressionable years, you're forced to go to school. You're forced to take these shots. You're forced to learn history as they want to tell it, and that's not always accurate. A lot of it's not accurate at all. Some of the shit's even made up, and even in religion too. Some of it's just completely made up, and they take stories that are meant for morals and values, and they try to put a literal um, face on it in order to keep the people um, to strive toward the goal that they want them to be living and striving for. You know what I mean? Um, some people, something else that they didn't mention, but I'll mention is some people prep to keep history from repeating itself. Um, General S. Lee always picks on the camping style preppers. Well, some preppers have had pitfalls in life, and they might have ended up in a homeless shelter. So some of their prepping gear, once they get back on their feet, might be geared more toward camping and that kind of thing, because they know how it feels like to be homeless and not have that roof over your head. So you might need a tent and a camping bag attached to your bug out bag. Um, some people some people prep because they want to be the super cops and the heroes in their neighborhoods. You know, while the shit's going on, they want to be the cool "I told you so" guy, um, and to look like they're on top of their game and be the hero of the neighborhood, because they know that not everybody around them is prepping in any form or fashion, and that they're going to need them for help, and that gives them the satisfaction of being able to play the hero. Another thing I have down here, I think we're up to number 9, as some people prep. I don't know if this really counts as a type of prepper, but I'm gonna throw it out there anyway. Some people prep to be vigilantes. They want to survive and just to go out and get revenge for some of the assholes that they didn't like in life. So during in the midst of all the chaos, they're gonna be taking a few cheap shots, if you will, um, at that nosy neighbor that they might not like. You know what I mean? To they already got predetermined enemies that they're going to be targeting once the shit hit the fan, depending on what type of shit hit the fan scenario it is. Number 10. On the flip side, some people prep for those bullies. Some people really don't. They really not prepping for any kind of economic collapse or asteroid hitting the planet or no kind of shit like that. They're prepping just simply because they know in times of disaster, eh, um, disaster breeds chaos, breeds nervousness amongst the general population, and people snap off a little bit. You know what I mean? Um, or opportunists, I should say, as we've seen in different riots across the country. Even the people that weren't directly affected still took advantage of selling their goods while those sections were down and out as far as their goods and services being able to come in and out of that area. They might have turned their garage into a general store and sold some of their preps to make an extra dollar, because the general store in the area while the chaos was going on was inaccessible. Number 11, making good time here. Um, some people are prepping to take on the government. And with that, I ask the same question I always do: who's gonna fire the first shot? And for those of y'all who's prepping because you're upset with the government and upset with the government structure, they've already fired the first shot. While everybody was too busy being petty and pointing the finger at whose rights should be taken away on the local level because of whatever prejudice or stereotype, that ended up biting a lot of people in the ass, especially when it comes to the gun rights. Um, because while everybody was pointing the finger during the 70s at the Black Panther movement, them standing up with their firearms, protecting their own communities, your then Senator Ronald Reagan was squashing everybody's Second Amendment rights back then, but nobody gave a shit because it was geared toward the Black Panther movement and black people and other minorities. So they voted for it to squash them out. That way they'd be the only ones left with the guns. And then years later, that shit still ended up biting y'all in the ass. So if you want some of these gun rights to go away, y'all gonna have to either agree to disagree with the minorities and both people stand up together and fight them, or everybody's gonna have a hard time getting those rights either completely taken off the books or have it set so it's more equal amongst everybody. Um, and the last thing, and I probably could do a video to this by itself, which I might do, is some people prep for the reset of the world or the United States as we know it. A lot of y'all really don't give a shit about the rest of the world, so stop saying you're prepping for the end of the world. You're prepping for the end of the United States as you like it. Um, and with that comes all your people that are worshiping the Constitution and the American flag and whatever. Um, and that, like I said, that in itself could be a whole video, because I mean, that goes back to the whole social engineering, social brainwashing thing I was talking about earlier. From a young age, you're made to go to school. You're told to worship this flag and this Constitution. It's the only thing that matters, and there's no reasoning behind it. You're just told to do it, and it becomes a form of habit before you even know what the hell the Constitution means or what it's supposed to mean. Because if we as Americans truly honored half of that, there wouldn't be half of the racial prejudice problems that we have to this day, had the Constitution really been written for the freedoms of all people. Because despite what your history is and what you've been told and raised to believe, all races are people. And until you get that point, everybody's going to have a problem. That's my video. I'm going to cut it off right there, and I'll be back at y'all with another video. Thank you for watching. Please feel free to comment and subscribe, and I'll see y'all in my next video. We out here. Peace.